Hi, everyone. This is Lisa and Carrie from the Things We Know podcast. We don't normally record on the weekends, but something happened in Congress this week that we absolutely have to talk about.
Yes, and we're alarmed. And we're not just alarmed, we're also alarmed that more people aren't, because this isn't a drill. And it's not just about politics. And this isn't even, it's going to sound a little bit when we go through it like a left right thing, but really, truly, it is about just fundamental rights that people fought hard for. And it's the rights of women across the country to vote.
I mean, we just celebrated 100 years, 2 years ago, for women's rights to vote. And quite frankly, they've probably been trying to get rid of it ever since, but we have absolutely seen an uptick. And the SAVE Act, that is exactly what it's trying to do. And so that's really what we wanted to get on and be really clear about what is happening. So, Carrie, can you start with that?
Yes. And I do want to add that we have been talking about this, you and I was telling you a little bit ago, the amount of women that I've told about this who've come back to me going, "My husband looked at it and said we shouldn't be worried." Goddess
Well,
bless.
that's just it. Because if you are watching mainstream media, they're really trying to push this through as a citizenship issue thing, and it's not. So go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So the House just passed something called the SAVE Act. It stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility. Sounds harmless, right? It is not. What this bill actually does is require people to provide documentary proof of US citizenship, like a birth certificate or a passport, every time they register to vote in a federal election.
Period. And here's
Period.
the kicker. Like, I don't carry around my birth certificate. I don't carry around my passport. So who is most affected by this?
Right. And it's married women. We're going to make another video because it affects a lot of people. I'm the mom of someone with a disability. There are rural people. There are um, Native American people and people who are transitioning and who have, who have changed their identity in any way are at risk. But also millions and millions of people who don't have either access to their birth certificates. There's like a massive number I was surprised about, but also naturalized citizens and people who don't have passports. So many people in lower income areas don't have passports. Okay. So let's get back to why we're making this video. This is what we are concerned about in this moment is married women, people who've changed their names. It includes 69 million women in this country. This past week, Representative Maxine Dexter tried to introduce an amendment to protect these voters, to say, surely you didn't mean for this, right? That your wives and daughters, who end up getting married and changing their names, would have difficulty voting. All Republicans rejected it.
Yeah, again, super clear. This is not about Democrats not voting. This is about women not voting. It doesn't matter if you voted for Trump. It doesn't matter if you're a registered Republican or a registered independent, progressive, Democrat. This affects all of this. And it's not about stopping voter fraud. That's the justification. But let's be super clear. Non-citizens voting is not a thing. It is completely illegal, and there are zero examples of that actually happening.
Yes, and if you follow Heather Cox Richardson, which we both do, who's a great historian, she said this is not, it's actually non-existent voter fraud. What this is becoming is election fraud. So the Brennan Center, which is a conservative body, it did, its research found that most reports of voter fraud are actually just clerical errors or bad data matches, not intentional fraud. So it's confirms by a conservative source that this is a non-existent issue. In 2021, a 2021 study out of the University of Chicago found zero evidence of widespread non-citizen voting in the 2020 election. And so many people, this came up so much when there was the debate about it, and so many conservative judges and conservative research bodies were saying we didn't find, like when they were looking for that as a source of voter fraud, they had no evidence they could come up with. So it's a made up problem being used to create real obstacles. And we see this so much. There might be an incident or two there, and then it becomes, completely overblown when actually we have so many things in place because it is illegal to
Yeah.
commit fraud voting. It already is in place.
And similar like proof of citizenship laws, like the one in Kansas, they've already been ruled unconstitutional after they blocked thousands of eligible citizens from registering to vote. So we already know how this plays out. However, We want it to stop before it even gets to the courts.
It is not about fairness. It is about power. And you're right to be alarmed. Um, and to be afraid that not enough people are. These policies are not being passed in a vacuum. They are part of an overlapping effort that we're seeing to redefine who gets to be a full citizen and who gets to access democracy. And it's really scary. And again, I keep seeing this. I pay attention, obviously, to anything that affects anybody who's marginalized, which is including women. But as a mom of someone with a disability, I'm constantly reminded, like, a disability fairy, a women's, rights fairy didn't just grant us these things. People fought hard, and we are losing access to them fast because while big things are happening behind the scenes, a lot of things on the state level are getting pulled back.
Yeah, no question. And so again, this video right now is sort of talking to all of you out there who are married and who changed your name from your maiden name to your married name. But this sets the precedent to roll back rights based on marital status, gender identity, residency, documentation, and as Carrie said, disability, and more. So we're talking to you, married white women, right now, but this is so much bigger than that.
And if you're not aware, please educate yourself about how Project 2025 is the blueprint for all of this. And there is not just an air, but an outright, unapologetic desire to have women voting less and having access to less services, right? So you'll see it. It's all connected. Abortion restrictions, anti-DEI measures, mostly affects women, voter roll purges, bans on gender affirming care, which PS gender affirming care is this buzzword. It's some dog whistle, but it really largely has to do with access to things that help people um, stay in the gender they were born with, right? Like men, that's a whole thing. We'll get to that another time. It's a coordinated playbook and it's laid out in black and white in Project 2025. And I just want people to be paying attention to that because if you want to know what's coming, look there.
Absolutely. And this idea that it's going to be left up to the states. Look, we've heard that before. That's what they said after Roe v. Wade went down. That's what they're saying about getting rid of the Department of Education. It'll go back to the states. And yet already the Fed is still dictating what colleges and high schools can do around DEI. This let the states decide. It's code. It just means we know which states will roll back these rights, and it is a slippery slope.
Once there is a federal law like this, it opens the floodgates for states to pass even more restrictive legislation with zero accountability.
So again, this is very, very important. Let's talk about what we can do because we still have an opportunity. We can still use our voices. The SAVE Act, as we said, got passed last week in the House with the help of 4 Democrats. Jared Golden from Maine, Henry Culler from Texas, Ed Case from Hawaii, and most disappointingly, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez out of Washington. Those 4 people, but we can still call our senators. 6 senators from the Democrats have to cross over for this bill to pass. And if it does, it's going to go to President Trump, and you know damn well he's going to sign it into law.
So right now is the moment to call your senators, especially if you live in Arizona, Montana, Ohio, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or any swing state. I live in Oregon, and we have 2 senators here that are against this, but I still call them on the issues I care about because the more our senators hear from us, the stronger they fight. We've just seen that has been playing out. So if you're sitting in a state going, there's nothing I can do, there is. People, make your voices heard. We're going to link a tool below so you can find your senators in seconds.
And you can call, you can email, you can leave a message. They absolutely take count. Even if they don't hear every voicemail, even if they don't read every email, they take count of how many constituents call in or email in. It takes 2 seconds and you do not need to be an expert. And here's what you can say. I'm a constituent and I'm urging you to vote no on the SAVE Act. It creates barriers to voting, especially for women who have changed their names. This bill is unnecessary, harmful, and based on a false narrative.
And if you're comfortable, share this video, text it to a friend, bring it to your book club, forward it to your sister, your mom, your daughter. really, share this or follow the pod. We are reposting videos from all kinds of people who say it even more succinctly than we do. So please just get the word out.
Yeah, we've seen this before. Again, our rights are completely 100% under attack, whether you are red, blue, or purple. Silence is not an option.
So speak up and call and share. Vote like your rights depend on it, because they do.
And look, we're with you. So let's fucking go.